feeling.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am in my kitchen tweaking currently. I had no intention on filming this video. It didn't even come to mind until literally 10 minutes ago, and I was like, maybe I should be filming this. I have no idea if I'm gonna regret this or if this video is even going to ever see the internet, but I just thought, since I'm always being applauded by my viewers for how real I am and how authentic I am and how I show everything that's going on in my life, I figured, why don't we film the process of me getting an IUD? This is a super common thing that a lot of girls experience, or they think about, or they consider at some point in their life. So yeah, welcome to my IUD vlog. I don't know what this is gonna be called yet. I'm basically just really stressed out right now, and I'm trying not to stress because that's gonna make it worse. But yeah, I'm gonna make myself some breakfast right now. I think I'm gonna make a little egg burrito type of situation. My gynecologist told me it's super important to eat before this procedure, so I wanna make sure I get some food in me and have some time for it to digest before I have to take all of my meds and go in. It's currently 11:50 and my mom, oh my gosh, I'm getting picked up in 40 minutes. My appointment's at 1, but my mom is picking me up at 12:30 because I need my mommy for this. All right, I have no idea how the lighting situation is. Every single time I sit at my counter and film, it tends to look horrible because all of my windows are over there and then I'm backlit. My breakfast burrito is done. Here she is. I literally halfway through realized that I didn't put any ham in it, and I actually do have ham right now. Sometimes I'll make this without any meat because I don't have any meat, but I literally have ham, lunch meat. But it was too late, and I just need to get this done. Pretty much every time I'm anxious or nervous or feel like I'm about to endure an excruciating amount of pain, I don't have an appetite, I can't eat. So this is going to be super hard to get down, but I know I need to eat it, so let's do this. Ugh, I actually hate eating when I feel like this. I'm really trying not to freak out. I know I'm gonna talk more about it probably after the procedure. I'm gonna talk about all of my thoughts going into it. If I would have planned to film this video, I would have started filming this sooner. So I want to talk about how I'm feeling going into it, but I really don't have that much time. I'm getting picked up in 20 minutes, and I need to eat this and take all my meds and stuff, which I should have taken my meds 9 minutes ago. I need to eat this and then I can take my meds. Okay, I just gotta eat. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. I've eaten this much. I'm probably gonna be able to eat the rest, I think. It's going down really slow, but I'm getting it down. I'm gonna go ahead and take my meds though, because she said to take them an hour before my procedure. An hour before the procedure, I'm taking 800 milligrams of ibuprofen and then 600 milligrams of acetaminophen with 60 milligrams of codeine. My gynecologist actually did not prescribe me this codeine acetaminophen blend. It was actually from some dental stuff a while ago, and I know you're not supposed to take prescription painkillers. I don't advise you do this, but my dad's a doctor and we went through the dosage and he said everything's gonna be good. Ew, those were really bitter. I'm gonna eat this go-go squeeze, maybe eat 2 of them on the car ride there. I just feel like sugar might be good for this because I have a tendency to pass out at the hospital. During shots and getting my blood drawn, I have gotten really lightheaded and literally passed out before. So I'm thinking that might be in my future. I'm not manifesting that, but I'm gonna prepare myself. I might pass out. I might pass out. I might pass out. I forgot I also need to take this. This is misoprostol, I'm not sure. I've been taking this for the last 6 days. This is my 7th day, and it's supposed to soften your cervix and dilate it. I guess this is commonly used after miscarriages to get everything out. I haven't experienced any bad side effects from it. A lot of people experience terrible cramping and nausea and a bunch of bad things. I was kind of hesitant to take this because there was so many stories of people having bad side effects, but my doctor said that it can help make it hurt less. So I've been taking it and it's been fine. It just feels like I'm gonna puke every time I take a bite. I'm so grateful for this food that I have to eat. Okay, I have my shoes on. I'm ready to go. My mom is here. I'm also packing a bag of grapes to eat on the way there, as well as that go-go squeeze I was talking about. I'm so nervous. Yeah, she's nervous. She's nervous. It's gonna be okay. It's just gonna be 15 seconds of pain. Excruciating pain, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Okay, I gotta go. Okay, guys, we just made it to the hospital. How are you feeling, Mom?
I'm good. I think you're gonna be just fine.
I'm just gonna bring my phone into vlog a little bit. I'm probably not gonna be able to film a whole lot, but I'll see you guys afterwards. Okay guys, I'm in the bathroom. I have my little cup that I need to pee inside of to make sure that I'm not pregnant before this. I do not feel normal right now. I feel like lightheaded and weird already. It's gonna be okay. Relax. If this isn't TMI, I don't know what is. I'm literally peeing in a fucking cup. I just peed on my hand. Okay, I can't really pee much more. Like I peed like a small amount. Hope that's enough. Alright, now I have to get naked in front of my mom for the first time. I mean, I don't want to just be butt ass naked. You want a striptease?
To kind of get your mind off of it.
I'm surprised he didn't want to be here.
The one that passed out.
I love this doctor so much. She is so chill and sweet and nice, and she never makes me feel nervous about anything. So as nervous as I was in this, I feel like if I had any other doctor, I would have been like 10 times more nervous.
Okay, big breaths, okay? Keep breathing.
Here she was like elbow deep inside of me. Definitely uncomfortable, but she was like testing to see where my uterus was or something.
Okay, you said no allergies to betadine. It can stain your clothes. Either way, I always recommend kind of doing.
You good?
I had a breakfast burrito. I'm like shaky.
It's hard, but the more you relax, the easier it is, and I know that's way easier said than done. Big breath in. Big breath out. Keep breathing, okay? Go ahead. Yep, keep breathing. The slower you breathe, the less likelihood of passing out, okay? Keep breathing. You're doing so good. You crushed it. You're almost there.
So
Okay, big breath in. You did so good.
It's over?
It's over.
Okay.
You did so good.
Oh, God. Okay, guys, it's over. I'm so shaky. It's very crampy right now. And honestly, the video you just watched, it might seem like it was like the most horrible thing ever. It was definitely really painful and it definitely hurt a lot. It just felt like an intense amount of pressure. Like you can kind of, what? This is probably different. You're beautiful. Aww. It was definitely painful. It was a lot of pressure. Definitely wasn't as bad as I was anticipating, I don't think. And also it was really quick. It was like 20 seconds. How hard was I squeezing your hand?
Not hard. I'm so proud of her.
Hard. Oh, I got my, oh God. I can't believe that I am vlogging this. Okay, I'm gonna get cleaned up and put my clothes on. Okay, I stood up to put my clothes on and I got lightheaded again. So I'm sitting down and she's getting me some juice. It's like I just want to go lay on my couch. I'm not doing good. I felt better right after. And then I stood up again, got lightheaded, kept doing that, kept getting lightheaded. I feel like I look so pale right now and like no color in my face. I drank 2 juice boxes, ate some crumble cookie. Now I'm like sitting up on here, but every time that I go from laying to sitting, I get lightheaded, and then every time I stand up, I get lightheaded. Hi guys, I'm back home after like an hour and a half of waiting in that hospital room, trying not to pass out. I'm at my mom's house. You guys probably have not seen this room in I don't even know how long, so long. I honestly don't even see it much anymore. But since I was feeling so weird, my mom decided it would be best if I came back here so that I'm not like alone at my apartment right now. I do feel like completely fine now. It's definitely like I have a fat heating pad on me. It literally covers the entirety of my abdomen and I think it's helping. I'm just feeling like a little cramping sensation. It definitely was way worse right away and I think that was contributing to like the passing out feeling. I look so scary right now, like so incredibly pale and just not. But yeah, as of right now, I'm feeling okay. I hate looking at myself. Like I just look sick and tired and like I need a nap. Not good at all. I think I'm gonna take a fat nap. My mom is making some soup right now, so I might take a nap and then eat some of that after. Hi guys, it's the next day. It's actually pretty late in the day too. It's almost 6 p.m. so I've kind of had all day to sit in my thoughts, sit in my feelings, sit in how my body's feeling and kind of come to a little bit of a conclusion for you guys. This next part is probably going to be a little long-winded, a little personal, a little TMI. I basically want to give you a rundown on my entire birth control experience from the age of 15 until now. I don't know, I feel like birth control is such an important topic to talk about and I feel like it's not talked about enough and I feel like so many girls are put on birth control at a young age or they choose to go on birth control, and it's not something that's talked about too much, rather than like, oh, are you on birth control? Like, me too. Like, that's really the extent of what I see, you know, in day-to-day life. Before I get into my entire life story though, I want to kind of talk to you about how I'm feeling right now, and I'll get into it deeper and I'll explain like the entire process from yesterday until now at the end of like my story time, if that makes sense. But overall, next day I'm feeling pretty good. I honestly haven't really had any like cramping today, which is amazing because I was told that I could potentially cramp really bad for like a month straight, and you know that can always come back and whatever, but yesterday the cramps were really bad. Today I honestly feel great. I slept a shit I slept for a really long time last night, and I slept in really late today, and then I woke up and I don't know, I felt pretty good. I definitely feel tired and like I feel like my body went through something, but nothing crazy, and like I feel pretty good for the most part. Okay, I'm gonna sit back because it's comfier and I don't want to sit forward, but let's throw it back to when I was 15 and I first wanted to get on birth control, and I got on birth control. So at the time I had a few friends that were on birth control, and it was like a common thing for girls my age to like start being put on birth control for like periods or for actual birth control reasons or whatever the case may be. People were getting put on birth control, and I kind of had like a really weird menstrual cycle. I got my period, or so I thought, in 8th grade for the first time. I got my period once and I bled like a little bit, and then I just never got my period again until like the following year. And then freshman year rolled around and I kind of started to get my period more regularly, but it still like was not regular. It was not coming every month, and then when I would get my period, it was super heavy and painful and bad. I definitely think it was because my body fat percentage was so low. Like, I just did not have enough fat on my body, and that wasn't like anybody's fault. It's just like my genetics. Like, I had no body fat, and I definitely was also like a late bloomer, so I just don't think that my hormones and my body weight and whatever, like, it wasn't allowing me to have a regular period. So my like regular doctor, like my family doctor, my physician, she decided that, I don't know, to put me on birth control. So yeah, I got on birth control and I really didn't have any significant issues. I feel like there was definitely an adjustment period where my body just felt super weird for a couple months, and like my period still wasn't regular, but after that like first couple of months of my body adjusting, everything was normal. And for the first time in my life, I had a regular period where I was bleeding for like 5 days out of the month, and it was on like the exact same days every day, which was unheard of for me because I had never had that before. If you guys are wondering what pill I was on, it's called Estrella. I don't know, I was on it for 4 years and I still don't really know how to say it. I never learned the pronunciation, but I don't know, I really love that pill. It's not gonna work for everybody. It's just like, it's impossible to know what's gonna work for you in your body until you try it. I had this one friend throughout high school that every single time I saw her, I swear she was on a different form of birth control. Like, it was either a different pill she was trying out, or she was trying out the patch or the ring, or I don't even know what other, like, whatever. Sorry about the lighting and the angle change. I literally just talked for 30 minutes and I decided that I am super annoying and repetitive, and I just is like, nothing is coming out of my mouth fluently. I feel like I am so scrambled that I don't even want to deal with editing whatever I just filmed. So I'm gonna start over. I'm gonna start fresh, and I'm gonna basically say everything that I just said to myself over again. Also, it got like dark out in the time that I was recording that, so that's why the lighting is different, but whatever. Let's get back into it. So I think the last thing I was talking about 30 minutes ago in that last clip was how my friend in high school, she was just constantly on new types of birth control. I just kind of want to use her as a little testament and a reminder that, one, if you're on birth control and you absolutely hate it, or you're thinking about getting on birth control, it is normal and it's okay to try out different forms of birth control if your body isn't agreeing with it or isn't liking the type of birth control that you're on. There's no singular form of birth control that's going to work for everybody. Like, the pill that I was on for a really long time has terrible ratings and reviews on like all of these different drug sites. You literally look up this pill and every single review is like, it's the most horrible thing ever. It ruined my body, it ruined my mental state, it ruined everything. But I personally, for the first 2 years that I was on it, I absolutely loved it. There's so many different forms out there, and I think it's really important to educate yourself and talk with your doctor, and, you know, really just think about what is going to work the best for you. And if it's not working for you, then you can change it up. But yeah, for the first 2 years that I was on my Estrella pill, I really liked it. I didn't really have any like crazy negative side effects. I didn't feel like mentally it was like doing anything horrible to me. So I was on it and I loved it. However, the reason I say the first 2 years is because these last 2 years have been not so great. There has been so many negative things that have happened to me that I have blamed on my birth control, and I've talked to my gynecologist and she says like, oh yeah, maybe, like there maybe could be a correlation. And something I find so common with like reading up on every single Reddit page, like y'all, I have done my research. I know every single thing there is to know about birth control and vaginas at this point because of what I've gone through the last 2 years. It is so common for people to go to their doctors and tell their doctors like, hey, I think my birth control is making me depressed. I think my birth control is giving me these symptoms. I think whatever. And doctors will always deny it. They will never, ever, ever admit that it is the birth control or that it could be the birth control these people's bodies up. And that is so wrong to me. Like, birth control is synthetic hormones. There is nobody in this world besides maybe doctors that are trying to push birth control, or like are just, honestly, I think doctors like don't even understand how negative birth control can be sometimes. I don't even know. But there is nobody that's going to say to you that being on birth control is healthier than being off of birth control, unless you have some sort of PCOS or endometriosis or something where like your life would be hell without birth control. But for like the average person, you are probably going to feel better off of birth control than on birth control, which is crazy, I know, because at a young age we're all put on birth control for our acne or for our heavy periods or for our PMS symptoms, and there's just so many other natural ways to go about treating those things. And I definitely have like thought about getting off of all of birth control and like just being natural, and I would love that, and I think it would be so good for me. So if you're watching this video and you're not on birth control and you're like, should I get on birth control? Like, Bailey's on birth control. I would say no, unless you like absolutely have a reason to do it, like a real reason, like a real reason. Because just because you're sexually active does not mean you have to be on a form of birth control. Definitely use a form of birth control, like condoms. And I know it feels a lot safer. Like, I personally, if I'm having sex, I need to be on birth control because of my own anxiety, so I do get that. But there are such things as cycle tracking, and there are natural ways to, you know, control your birth or whatever, like birth control. Like, there's natural forms of it, okay? Obviously they're not as effective and they're not as accurate, but I don't know, I just feel like birth control cannot be good for us. But even with me having those feelings, I'm still on birth control, so I don't blame you if you also want to be on birth control. It's just like, there are negative things that come with it, and I feel like doctors sometimes brush over them. First 2 years of the pill, amazing, flawless, have no complaints. However, after being on it for a while, I started getting some negative symptoms, and I honestly have not felt like myself in 2 years. Extreme fatigue and exhaustion, and I literally just feel so... There's people on the roof over there, and it looks like they're literally having sex. Okay. I feel like I never have any motivation to do anything. No matter how much sleep I get, I'm always tired. And I kept thinking that these were things, like I was convincing myself that I had like thyroid issues, and I had like, I was anemic, and I had vitamin deficiencies, all these things. And honestly, I think that your birth control can directly affect the way that you feel in all of those categories. So I kind of came to the conclusion that, you know, my birth control could be a main reason that I'm feeling so negatively, because not only was I having those kind of just like, I don't feel amazing symptoms, but I was having some issues down here, like reoccurring infections and stuff. I don't want to get too into it, but basically this weird thing was happening to me where every single month before my period, I would get these symptoms that were similar to the symptoms of like a yeast infection. If you don't know what those are, look them up. I don't want to get into all of my personal details, but I basically was just super uncomfortable and in pain and just like, ugh, before my period. But after like a couple months of that happening, I went into the gynecologist and I got a full exam done, and this was like my first ever exam where I got my feet up and they're in there with the speculum and they're like doing their thing. Every single test came back negative. So after months of struggling with this and trying out different things just like on my own, I left the gynecologist feeling even more confused than when I went in there. I think I literally like teared up and started crying in the elevator because I was just so sick of feeling the way that I did, and I was so excited to get something prescribed to me or to get something that would help me, and it didn't work out like that. So probably for like a year after that, I just kind of dealt with the same things. It wouldn't be every single month, but it would be very common. And honestly, it got to the point where it made me hate myself and I felt so disconnected from myself. It was just horrible. I felt so not good about myself. And even when the symptoms were cleared up, like what would happen is it would literally be like 4 or 5 days before my period, I would start to get these negative symptoms, and then I would get my period and it would completely clear up until the next month when, you know, the same thing would happen. So I got so sick of that. I found a new gynecologist and I went in for different type of testing, and again, everything came back negative. So I did my own research. I was knee deep in Reddit. I was watching every single TikTok I could find. I was literally like, I just know so much about every single infection or thing that could be wrong with a vagina. So after a lot of long, extensive research, I kind of concluded that I felt like my birth control was the reason for me getting these weird symptoms. And that's when I went back to my gynecologist and I was like, hey, I think that my birth control could be causing this. So although she didn't fully validate my feelings and like agree with me that my birth control could be causing these symptoms, she did give me like different options, and that's when we started talking about the IUD. And I already have had kind of been thinking about getting an IUD because a ton of my friends have IUDs and they have amazing stories. Like they love their IUDs. However, the entire internet says otherwise. If you watch any TikTok, if you just look up IUD on TikTok, there are a million horror stories. It's like videos of people getting them inserted in it, them saying it's the worst pain of their entire life, and then doctors being horrible and not explaining things, and their symptoms being horrible after they get it in, and it's the side effects. There are so many horror stories. But then I hear 5 of my best friends get IUDs and they love them. They all love them. And yes, it hurt, they say, and all these other things, but they love them at the end of the day. And that's when I came to the beautiful realization that people are a lot more likely to review something that they absolutely hate versus something that they like. If somebody has a horrible experience with an IUD, they're more likely to make a video about it or to post on Reddit about it than somebody that gets an IUD and doesn't feel any different than before and it works for them. People love sharing the horror stories, okay? People aren't gonna be like, oh yeah, like I got my IUD in last month, I feel completely fine and nothing has changed, I'm the exact same. Like people don't think to make videos like that. They think to make videos of the horrible experiences. So keep that in mind if you're researching things. It's just a lot more times than not, people are gonna choose to share the horror story versus the positive story. So despite all of the negative horror stories online, I listened to my friends and I listened to my doctor, and my doctor basically said that like hella girls my age are loving the IUD, and she puts in so many IUDs and people like them and whatever. So we scheduled it, and obviously that brings us to yesterday when I got my IUD. That shit hurt. That shit hurt so bad, but I honestly don't think it was as bad as I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. Like, I mean, all of the horror stories made it seem like it was like the worst thing ever, and it wasn't good. Like, it definitely hurt, but it was quick and it was like fine. I wouldn't love to go through that over and over, but you know, it's in me and it's good, and now I have 8 years where I can leave it in and I don't have to experience that again. So yes, the pain hurt. The worst part for me was actually afterwards when I just got really lightheaded, which isn't gonna happen to everybody. I think that I get really anxious and nervous, and then my blood vessels like constrict themselves because of that like reaction. There's like a specific scientific term that happens. I'm gonna quickly talk about like the actual like different points of pain that happen, and I'm gonna put this little simulation like TikTok on the screen of an IUD getting inserted, just in case you're curious, you don't know. But basically, pop you open, you spread your legs, and she inserts the speculum, which is like that metal thing. They use this for like pap smears and other exams. They put the speculum in and they open you up wide, and honestly this part, it doesn't hurt, but it's not comfortable and it feels like I'm being stretched, if you know what I mean, but it's not painful. They go in and they grab your cervix with these things called forceps, which by the way, I knew all of this. Like, my doctor didn't even explain any of this to me. She just said, I'm gonna put the IUD inside of you, but I did all of this research on my own. They go in and they pierce your cervix with these super sharp pointy forceps, which was like honestly the most terrifying part to me, like watching these videos and stuff. It just feels like a sharp, crampy pinch, if that makes sense. Like, it just, I don't know, it definitely hurt. It was like the initial like, ooh, okay, we're doing this.
Big breath out. Deep breathe in, okay?
But but they grab your cervix and they kind of pull your cervix forward to adjust it, and then they go in with like a measuring tool through your cervix. They measure your uterus, they take that out, and then they put the IUD in, and they take everything out. She also went in with like some iodine first and like some other cleaning stuff. I don't know, I didn't get any type of topical anesthetic, whatever. I didn't get any topical numbing. You can ask for like a cervical blocker, not a cervical blocker. That's like, I don't know, you can get like a lidocaine shot in your cervix, but to me, that was more scary than doing it without any numbing. I'm the same way with my cavities. Like I've had cavities in the past and I have gotten cavities replaced without any numbing because I'm more scared of the numbing in the needle than I am of like the drill to my tooth. Super weird. I just hate needles. Also, there's so much talk about pain management, and although my doctor did not prescribe me anything for pain management, I could have asked for something and I think she would have prescribed it for me. I've heard of people getting prescribed Xanax or different anxiety meds to help calm you before the procedure. I've also heard of people getting prescribed more like high-level pain meds. It's just something you need to talk to your doctor about because they're not just going to offer it for you. I don't know why they don't. It should be standard to give somebody an anxiety pill and a pain med, in my opinion. I didn't because I don't know. I could have asked for it, but I didn't. In the beginning of this video, I talked to you guys about the pills that I did take. I talked about the pill that I'd been taking for a week prior. There's no way to know if that actually helped or not, but after she put it in, she was like, I'm glad I gave you that. So maybe she could tell that my cervix was soft or something. I just can't stress it enough. If you want to get an IUD, but you're too scared of the pain, you need to talk to your doctor about pain management and anxiety management because they can give you things that will help. You know what I mean? Like I never even asked like, hey, can you prescribe me a heavy painkiller? Because they're not just gonna like offer that. But if you ask, like they are probably going to prescribe it for you. So you can ask for things. Don't be scared to ask for pain management. It should be standard, but it's not for some reason. So if you really think that you want it or you need it, then ask for it. But yeah, I got it in. I felt honestly fine after. There was like a lot of heavy cramping. Like just imagine like your worst period cramps ever. I know some people don't even get period cramps or like they get very minimal cramping. I have experienced pretty bad period cramps in my life, so it didn't really seem that crazy to me, like the cramping. I sat there for like 10 minutes just to make sure I was okay, and I honestly felt great. And then when I decided to stand up, that's when I got all lightheaded, and you guys kind of saw that. I filmed a little bit of it. Y'all, I was in that hospital room for like an hour and 45 minutes after I got the IUD in because I could not stand up without passing out. I'd be laying there and I'd be like, okay, I'm feeling better. I would slowly sit up and I would try to sit for 5 minutes, and then I would either get super lightheaded again and have to lay back down, or I would actually try to stand, and then I would stand for like a couple seconds, and then I would get super lightheaded and have to lay back down. It went on for so long. They brought me 2 juice boxes. They brought me part of a crumble cookie. I drank a bunch of water, and I had a heating pack and an ice pack, and I just could not get fine. Like I felt fine laying down. I felt completely fine. So I wasn't worried that anything was wrong because there are like really serious complications that can happen. Eventually it got to the point where I was not improving at all, and I just wanted to go home and go to bed so bad. So I was like, somebody give me a damn wheelchair and I'm just gonna get wheeled out of here with like my head down in between my arms. And that's exactly what I did. The entire time I was getting wheeled out of the hospital, I was like seeing stars, and I would have to like put my head down like this to like get blood to my head. But eventually I got in my mom's car, I leaned the seat back, and I felt amazing. And then by the time I got home, I felt fine, and I walked inside and I went upstairs and I laid in bed. For the first couple of hours after I got home, it was very intense cramps. A heating pad helped me tremendously. I didn't really take any other medication. I still haven't taken any ibuprofen or any type of painkillers, but for the first couple hours it definitely hurt. And then my boyfriend came over probably around 8 p.m. He brought me ice cream and we just hung out for a little bit, and when he was over I really didn't have cramps at all, but it just felt like normal period cramps that like I kind of can forget about. It wasn't like excruciating cramps. And then right before I went to bed, it started coming back like a little bit more painful, but I put on the heating pad again and I felt fine. Went to bed, slept for a long time, woke up this morning, and I don't even think I've had a single cramp today. Like maybe like a few, but I feel fine. I feel great. I feel like a little weird. Like I feel kind of exhausted and like I got hit by a truck. Like you can, like I said this, like you can tell something happened in my body. Like I don't feel 100% great, but I don't feel horrible at all. And it's super normal to bleed after you get an IUD inserted. A lot of people bleed for like weeks, months. Like one of my friends spotted for 6 months after she got an IUD put in. Some people cramp. One of my friends said that they cramp cramped for a month. That same friend that bled for 6 months though said she only cramped for 6 hours after getting it. So it's gonna be different for everybody. I'm really hoping, right now I'm bleeding like a tiny bit, but I'm also supposed to be on my period, so I'm a little confused. I was kind of hoping that I would bleed like fully. So yeah, there's my birth control and IUD talk and experience and overview. I'm not gonna be able to upload this video for a couple of weeks because I have pre-filmed videos and I have other things that need to go up. So I think I'm gonna continue filming, like maybe in a week I'll check back in with you guys and let you know how I'm feeling. But as of right now, the video's over. I don't know. I guess I'll see you guys when I see you. Hello, I am back. It is now October 21st, so it's been 13 days since I got my IUD put in, and I thought I would come back and give you guys an update just like I said I would. I wanted to do this because obviously there's like the immediate reaction that your body has and like the immediate side effects and whatever happens, but then there's also like long-term things and things that I'm still dealing with, and I just wanted to see kind of like how I'd be feeling a week or two later. I need to set my camera down though. I need to get a tripod. Okay, so basically since I talked to you, I was supposed to be like on my period when I got my IUD. I wasn't bleeding yet. I don't even actually know if I talked about that. When I went in for my consult, my doctor told me that she prefers to put IUDs in people when they're on their periods because your cervix dilates and it's just like easier to get the IUD in. And then also she has this theory, I don't know if it's actually proven, but she was talking about it, that sometimes if you get it in when you're on your period, your uterus will kind of just strip everything that's in there, and then you will actually end up losing your period or having like a chance, not like permanently, but there's some girls that get the Mirena IUD and they completely lose their period while they're on it, which is kind of an ideal situation because who doesn't, I mean, I guess some people like having their period. I was like that for a really long time. Like I liked getting my period every month for one obvious reason. Other than that, I hate my period. Like why would I want my period? So there's a chance that you stop getting your period when you have at least this particular IUD. So I scheduled my appointment to line up on a day that I had my period. However, my doctor had something come up where she actually had an appointment and we had to reschedule, and she got me in 2 days earlier than I was supposed to be going in, and I actually hadn't gotten my period yet. So I was a little nervous. Like when she like was up there, she was like, yeah, you're about to get your period. And like I could kind of tell, because you know, like before you get your period, if you're a girl or you have a period, you'll know what I'm talking about. Before you like actually get your period, sometimes you'll have symptoms that your period is coming, like a little bit of like spotting or whatever. So I was kind of having that, so hopefully it gave like the same effect. Right away it was pretty heavy bleeding, not as heavy as like a normal period for me, and my periods are not very heavy. So the bleeding that happened right away was like a mixture between what was supposed to be my period and then also just like the side effect of getting an IUD put in, but it was lighter than my normal period. So that bleeding lasted probably about a week, and then it slowly started to get less and less, and now for the last week or so it's been very light spotting, like not enough to like really bother me or ruin my day, but it's like I'm just putting a panty liner on every single day, and like I don't know, it's just like a tiny little bit. Other than that though, I feel completely normal. Like I am not experiencing any type of pain or discomfort or cramping. I haven't had any weird like hormonal mood swing type of things. Like I was kind of expecting, you know, I've been on this same dose of hormones since I was 15, and then getting off of that and getting something new. Like I thought there would maybe be like a change I felt, and yes, that change could still happen down the road, but right now like I feel pretty good. Other honorable mentions, the first time that I went number 2, I was like terrified for some reason. Like nobody talks about that. I don't know why I was so scared. I think it was the day after I got it put in is the first time that I went, and it was just like I was scared. I was scared it was gonna hurt. I was scared I was gonna feel like cramping, but honestly it was fine. Obviously you can go to the bathroom after you get an IUD. Like that was nothing, like I never had thought about that, you know what I mean? There's just certain things that you don't think about until you're actually in the scenario. Oh, and then also I think I got the IUD put in on a Tuesday, I want to say, and then that Saturday I went to like a college and I was like dartying all day, like walking around hanging out. I didn't want to put a pad on, and this was during the phase where I was bleeding like heavier. Like a panty liner wouldn't have been sufficient, so I put a tampon in for the first time, and that scared me because I remember my doctor telling me nothing inside of you for 3 days. But then when I was in the car, my mom gave me a ride to wherever I went, and my mom was like, no, like she said, she didn't say that, she didn't say, and she like got me tripping. I was like, no mom, you're messing this up. she said it was like a month or something. I was like, you're just whatever. So I kind of had like a little panic attack because I was scared that I put a tampon in too early, but I posted on my girls only private story, and all of my girls honestly have been helping me so much. Every single time I've had a question or I've been like freaking out about something, I just post it. It's like a story with like 10 of my best girlfriends, and everybody's like swiping up, giving me their personal experience. And I asked how long the cramping lasts, I asked how long the bleeding lasts, and obviously it's different for everybody, but just like hearing other people tell me about their stories makes me feel better. So that's why I'm ultimately making this video, because I don't know, somebody out there, maybe you're getting an IUD tomorrow and you're researching and you found this video and you can now see that it's not as scary as you might think. I don't know, I've said this so many times throughout this video, I feel like I'm gonna regret posting this video and being so personal and talking about it, but honestly, this shit shouldn't be weird. Like, we should not be embarrassed. Like, I bleed out of my vagina, I don't want to get pregnant, I got an IUD, birth control is normal, the side effects after getting birth control is normal. Like, all of these things are normal, okay? I don't know, I'm just sick of pretending like embarrassment is a real thing, because embarrassment is not a real thing. Embarrassment is a feeling, not a object. It's not like a real thing. It's not a real tangible thing. You can only be embarrassed if you allow yourself to feel embarrassed. So I'm done feeling embarrassed, especially talking about stuff like this, because I'm educating so many people. Hopefully that's the goal. Also entertainment, because I feel like this was a very entertaining video, literally watching an IUD get put inside of me. Anywho, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, even though it was probably a tough watch at some points. If you guys feel comfortable sharing any of your personal stories in the comment section, please feel free. This is another one of those videos where I want us all to be chit-chatting in the comments and having conversations. If you've been on different types of birth control, what has your experience been? Are you thinking about birth control? Would you never ever get on birth control? There's so many different things, there's so many different feelings when it comes to this topic, so I want to hear what you guys have to say. I love you. I have so many fun things coming up. I have a trip to Florida and then Halloween. I'm hoping to be able to vlog Halloween. You guys know me. You guys know me. Anyways, fun things coming soon. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.